Good evening to the bearded brethren of the No Shave November Evangelism Challenge. Tonight it is November the 12th, 2025, and tonight's verses, following on the footsteps of last night's tough verses, another set of tough verses, Matthew chapter 5, verses 43 to 48. Jesus has just finished talking about retaliation. And don't refuse anyone who would borrow from you, and turn the other cheek and go the extra mile, all that. So now here he picks up in 43. Go ahead, reading from my bougie Bible again. You have heard that it was said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, so that you may be sons of your Father who is in heaven. For he makes his sun to rise on the evil and the good, and sends rain on the just and on the unjust. For if you love those who love you, what reward do you have? Do not even the tax collectors do the same? And if you greet only your brothers, what more are you doing than others? Do not even the Gentiles do the same? You therefore must be perfect, as your heavenly Father is perfect. Okay, wow. Talk about another hard one. He says, you have heard that it was said, right? The tradition said, love your neighbor, hate your enemy. It just made sense, right? I mean, and it still makes sense to most people today, doesn't it? Well, you're my enemy. You're trying to harm me. You have it out for me, and I don't like you. And one of us is going to have to go, right? And that's the way we kind of think about things most of the time. But here's what he said. I say, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, so you may be sons of your Father who is in heaven. Okay? So that's kind of the crux of this. It says, you have to love your enemies. And remember, guys, this doesn't mean have nice feelings for them. This has nothing to do with how you feel about them. Okay? You cannot like people till the cows come home and not like what they do or anything about them, but still love them. Remember, love is giving of oneself sacrificially, putting another's needs above your own. But remember, let's pick up why he says we are to do this. So that you may be sons of your Father who is in heaven. Okay? That's why we are to love our enemies. And now listen to what he says right after that again, okay? For he makes, that is God, makes his sun rise on the evil and the good and sends rain on the just and the unjust. See, he's saying to you already, look, I send my good gifts, all right? The sun, the rain, even just my natural gifts, right? To all people, whether they love me or not, whether they like me or hate me, they get my gifts. They get my goodness, even if it's just in the natural world. And he says, well, if you want to be my son, if you want to be God's son, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to be like your Father. You're supposed to bear a family resemblance to your Father. And what does he say about God? Well, this is exactly how God is, right? And how do we know that's how God is? Because he sent Christ. He sent himself, the second person of the Trinity, to do this for us and to die for the unjust and the ungodly and for those that hated him. Okay? And if we want to be sons of God, because we are sons of God, period, we've got to bear a family resemblance. Don't you want to look like your daddy? Right? Especially if you got a good-looking daddy. I say I have a good-looking daddy and I look like my daddy. But, so that's what I say. But I also want to look like my heavenly Father. Because why do I want to look like my heavenly Father, just like I look like my earthly father? Because it literally says, he says, we have to be perfect because our heavenly Father is perfect. We want to be just like our daddy. That's a good thing. And what do we know about God? Yes, he's just. Yes, he is righteous, but he's also merciful and loving and kind. And even when you read the Old Testament, when he has to be hardcore sometimes, that's only after decades, years of rebellion, of backsliding, and he finally drops the hammer. But he's so merciful, even in the Old Testament. Trust me, read through it. See how long it takes him to act against people when they've done him wrong. Okay? He is mercy. He is love. And he says, look, if all you do is love people that love you first, you're exactly like any other dirtbag out there. He says tax collectors, right? Remember, back then, tax collectors to the Jewish people were sellouts. Okay? They were working and enriching themselves by working for the occupying power and ripping off their own people to do so. It would be like if the United States was invaded by China and they took over. And then all the people that worked for them, because they benefited from them. I mean, think about how you would feel about those people. You'd feel betrayed. You would hate them. But he says, look, you love them. You don't have to like them. You don't have to like anything about them, but you have to love them because you're supposed to be just like your daddy, who loves them, who even gives them rain and sun and other blessings, even if they don't acknowledge him for it. And what has he given you, even before you acknowledged him for it? Life, blessings, salvation, forgiveness, joy that doesn't make sense. That doesn't mean you're happy all the time, but it means even in the midst of these horrible trials that we face in the world, there is something there. There's a strange peace that shouldn't be there according to the world, but yet it is. He's like, look, this is how God's always been, okay? And if we want to belong to him, that's how we have to be. We have to put our enemy, those who hate us, before ourselves. Because that's exactly what God has done for us. That's the gospel. That's good news. No matter what you've done, no matter how you turned your back on God or spit in his face, doesn't matter. You run home. He's got his arms wide open. That's good news. Talk about it. Tell others about it. Sit in that and soak in that. And we'll see where we end up tomorrow night.